Hello there folks, welcome back to another video. My name's Ben. I'm going to talk you through whether you should be buying Football Manager this year, and if you already have, you're now watching this thinking, should I not have bought it yet? So Football Manager has been out in beta for a couple of weeks now, and I know as someone that's played the game for many years, the game from then to now, it doesn't change that much. It'll be improved. If anything, it will get better. So take this review and this, should you buy it, as a, well, things won't be worse than what he's saying, so it should be fine. If they are, that'll be a first, and I will look like a fool. So me personally, I buy it every year. It's kind of this channel doesn't really work if I don't buy it every year. If I took a year off buying it and carried on with FM20, people would go, does he know there's a new one out? Some people watching will be surprised that's not happened before. But I've been asked this question enough over the years to know if it's something you should be buying. I can put myself in the mind of a Football Manager consumer, someone that maybe thinks every year, am I going to be getting the new Football Manager this year? Is it worth it to me? Should I be getting it? Well, and this boils down to three sections, really, on whether you should be buying it or not. New features, cost and value for money, and you. And you will find out towards the end of this video that you are the most important person in this conversation. Do you like it when I point? Sorry, I should stop pointing. It's rude to point, I was told. So let's start. Let's start with the glitz and the glamour of the new features. Features that may have wowed you, may not. And I will say now, if you've not seen what the new features are, there's loads of videos online, especially on the Football Manager channel, that talk you through the new headline features. Equally, watch a stream of it, watch some videos of it. You'll figure out, watch some of my videos on it if you want, and you'll figure out whether it's going to be a game that you can see enough improvement in going forward. But let's focus on a few of the key ones that they were proud enough of to make videos about. So some core things have improved: interaction, match day experience, recruitment, and how the end of the season operates. All of those things are things that have definitely improved going into this year. That said, with things that have improved, there are things that have not really changed. Training, the scouting centre, finances, your overall club really haven't really changed that much. Club vision was something they focused on a lot last year. There's not been too many alterations to that. But let's focus in on some of the things they have changed. Interactions, whether that be with players or agents or the press, are way better than in previous years. They're so much more intuitive. They give you different ways of talking to people. You can throw bottles now, which has been pretty highly publicised. Throw the bottle if you want. But the gestures, the way in which you say things, the way in which you command yourself to players has had a massive revamp, and it's something that has been wanted by many people for a long time. If you're someone watching this that doesn't really care for press conferences or team talks necessarily, then this isn't something that is maybe going to make you want to buy the game, and keep that in mind as we go forward. But you might hear this, and you might hear me saying it and think, now I'm interested. I'm moving on to the next one. Recruitment is given more of a focus this year. It's not just a decision that you're making. The board will come to you and say, our left winger's not particularly good. Maybe consider buying some left wingers. Our striker maybe is getting a little bit older. Shall we think about getting someone new to come in a couple of years? And really focusing in on key areas of your squad. It really helps with how you want to build a team now and make it your own team, and equally progressing to the future. And I think that's important with games like Football Manager, is that the development of your own squad and you as a manager, and how you can make things better moving forwards, so that you play the game year on year, or season on season as it would be when you're inside the game. They've really focused on that, and recruitment is something that is so pivotal to Football Manager. It's arguably people's favourite bit of Football Manager, is signing players. So to give a little bit more of a focus to that, it's not a huge focus, in my opinion. Like, you could still play the game and not worry about things like recruitment meetings or what the board think. You can definitely still play the game in your own way. But know that they're sort of edging towards, again, it's that interaction element. It like plays into the first one, that you're communicating with your board on decisions that are going to be made that affect the entire club, especially financially, obviously. And once you've bought those players, you get yourself to the thing people look at mostly, the match engine, the graphics engine, that match day experience, and how it's been changed this year compared to previous years. The amount of times I get questions in regards to the engine, the match engine and the graphics engine, and people not necessarily knowing there's a difference between the two, happens pretty regularly. And the match day experience is undoubtedly a better experience. They've changed the way the panels work and how some of the XG is now visible on the match stats. Of course, the look of the engine itself seems to have been given like this sharpness, and player movements seem that bit more fluid. It's good, it's better. But I feel like I can say this about every version of Football Manager, that it's always better. The question a lot of people have is it enough of an improvement? Has it gone from there to there, or has it gone from there to there? And that's where people's decision making comes in, especially when buying it, right? Ultimately, there'll be people watching this that don't buy it every single year because you don't think the improvements are big enough, and you will wait a couple of years to bank those features, so that when you move forward to a new game, you're deciding, well, is this the game for me now? And I think if you're one of those people, and I'm going to address you people directly, people that didn't buy FM20 and are playing FM19, and believe me, people watching this thinking, do people do that? Lots of people still do that. There are enough improvements in 20 and especially in 21 that move this game forward a lot. And if you're still playing 19, I will say, without question, this is the year that you should be improving. Like, there is enough in the last 2 years that you should definitely buy it. So you people specifically, didn't think I was going to mention you lot. You should be buying it. Again, people playing 18 or 17, you come into this as well, obviously. This is the year where you should absolutely be buying it. To the point where you all think, this is a lot of change and good change. The way the engine plays this year is just... It's hard to know right now, and I've got to be honest with you. I've played the beta for 100 hours. It's something that can be tweaked and can be changed, and that's one of the areas actually that Football Manager does alter and does change more than any other, because they're getting so much more data from thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people potentially playing the beta version of the game, that is the one area which in 6 months or in 3 months or even in a month we could see some big change. The other aspects of the game, as I said before, I've played the game long enough to know that the game doesn't change that much from beta to the full release when it comes out. So things I'm saying can kind of be taken as true because of the lack of change going forward. Basically, if there's errors and bugs in the game, they get wiped out. Most of them get wiped out until everyone finds one in June that you're like, how did we all know about this? I mentioned another one of the features. The end of the season has been made... I'm going to use the phrase again. It's been made more engaging. That's the thing they focused on this year. They've made the whole game feel like it's in this sort of bubble now. You're in your own sort of club bubble, and your end of season review stuff is just kind of cool to look at. I will say it's information that's kind of been there already, but presented in a way which is like making you feel like, oh, this is a big end of season award ceremony almost. I used to love that, youth football especially. You'd go along to these events and these evenings, and I feel like I've got my own one of those now. It's all about my own team. It's lovely. That feature on its own, by the way, is not enough to buy the new game. It's not enough. That's not enough. And of course, there are hundreds and probably thousands of smaller improvements that go into the game. And again, watching streamers, watching videos of it, watching people play it live is a really good way of getting involved and knowing what's changed, and even going to those streamers and asking, well, how is this different? Is this different? People that have been playing it now for years will know the answers almost immediately. So definitely do that. Alternatively, if you've got big questions on that, comment section, get involved. As someone that's played it for 100 hours already, I'm pretty well placed to give you an idea of whether it's changed or not. And if that matters to you, I can give you the information on that. So it boils down... Don't just say bottles, Ben. Oh, my regular audience will love that. But it boils down to, are these new features enough if you've bought 20, right? If you've played 20 for amount of hours, and we'll come into that when we deal with cost and value for money, are those features enough? And that then is where we come to cost and value for money, and whether this game is something you should be purchasing because you'll look back at the end of the year and gone, do you know what, I got enough out of that it wasn't a waste of money, right? And ultimately, in times that we're in right now, money matters. So it is a factor for a lot of people, and you've got to appreciate that. But I'm going to boil down some numbers for you to make you realise that ordinarily, Football Manager is extraordinarily good value for money. And this video is here for people that ask me all the time, is it value for money? I will now link them to this video. If you've got friends that say, are you getting the new FM this year? I don't know, should I get it? This is the video I think you should link to them. It will give them a good idea of if they should do it. And if you've come to this video, this is the key bit. This is where I said you matter, right? The cost and value for money, this is really where you matter here, viewers. If you're playing the game for 150 hours or less, right? Let's say that, or fewer, I think is the correct English. Then I don't think it necessarily is worth buying for you, because you're not playing previous editions enough to get the full experience out of them, in my opinion. I don't know how much you're getting plays in that amount of hours. You might be getting a couple of seasons done, and is that enough compared to a previous version that you already own? Maybe not. If you're playing for 300 hours, is that at the point where you're thinking, and again, you can look through your Steam library, you can see your hours played. If you didn't know this, you might be about to horrify yourselves when you realise you spent 14,000 hours playing FM15. Oh, God. But no, 300 hours, you're kind of borderline for me. Like, you could buy it, and you'd probably still get a lot of enjoyment out of it, but are you playing it enough? You're kind of on the edge. And 3 to 4, sort of 500 hours, that's the average playtime for anyone that buys the game. So most of you probably are playing for 300 hours, and you're probably buying it year on year. If you're playing it for 500 hours, and people that have played, right, I love that, you people are hilarious. People that have got 1,500 hours on the game and come to me and say, should I be buying the new FM, Ben? It's like, did you enjoy the last one? Because you played about a penny an hour, not even that for it. And that's where you can come down to some of like the calculations if you want. Like I've written a few down here for me to go through, right? If you pay for 1,000 hours, you're paying 3 pence an hour in English money, and you can do the translations in America. They're similar, believe me. 500 hours, 7 pence an hour. 150 hours, you know that one I said, I don't know if you should be buying it, I don't know if it's value for money. 150 hours is still 24 pence an hour. The games industry as a whole is a time sink of value for money. Generally speaking, if you're buying games, even those games you bought on Steam for £4 that you never play, they're still value for money. I don't care if you've not installed it, you've bought a game for £4. That took them years to make that game, and you've picked it up, no problem. Football Manager sell themselves on this. They know they are the most value for money game out there, especially in the sports genre as well, right? You're not going to get as angry at Football Manager as you are a game like FIFA necessarily. You're going to have a good time playing it. You're going to delve deep into this game and to go into places and tell stories that you didn't think you'd be telling other humans. So this is where like the value for money question comes in for you. How much are you playing it? How much are you going to enjoy it? Do the new features that we talked about appeal to you? Do you know that those features are going to make you play it for those extended hours? Because undoubtedly, Football Manager is and I've mentioned it 50 times now, is a value for money game. And based on that, it's never going to be a particularly bad choice to buy it unless you play it for less than 50 hours. And at that point, you've kind of mugged yourself off a little bit. And even then, it's like £1.20 an hour. Like, it's pretty good. If you go and see, like, 4 films, it depends on your film outlet. 4 films is about, let's say, 8 hours, right, on balance. Football Manager, you'll get more hours out of that. So, seems obvious now, doesn't it? We're all going to buy it again. But there is something, I think, to waiting a year, maybe waiting 2 years, and then having a big influx of new features. There's this constant question, are the new features of Football Manager enough reason to buy the game? Are they enough reason for you to part way with some cash? And for me, yes. For you, maybe. So maybe you watch this video and you feel like you didn't really learn anything and you buy it every year anyway and you knew. And hopefully, if you've already bought it, you now feel like, okay, so I have made a good financial decision based on the fact that I've got 1,000 hours or 700 hours or 500 hours or even 450 or 300 hours, right? You've probably done the right thing by getting it, especially if you enjoy it. If you are someone that has come to the end of this video and you are unimpressed and you are uninspired by what they've done with the game and you don't think it's worth it, here's what you should do. Don't buy it. I know it sounds really obvious, but sometimes I get people that come into Twitch streams or YouTube comments that are angry that the game hasn't progressed. Well, then you are in that category of someone that should be waiting a year. But hopefully you found something useful from this video, and if you have, please do subscribe. I've got series coming out and series that are already going on all over the channel right now. I've got one with Leeds United where we're trying to battle to win a Premier League title at some stage, I hope. A new save with the Created Club, which is based on a previous series I did that you may well have seen called Thames FC. And yeah, we've got a whole host of other things coming your way, especially multiplayer against other creators on the platform. So it should be a good time. Hopefully looking forward to seeing that, and I've enjoyed this video. And if you have, do drop a like on it, turn on those notifications if you wish to, and I'll see you again very, very soon. With love, with care. From me, Dr. Benji. I'll see you again soon. Goodbye. Maybe you're going to buy the game now. Maybe you're not. Depends on you. Do you feel pointed at enough? I feel like a teacher sat here.